It's Trial Tuesday, and today we're talking about motorcycle accidents. What should you do if you or a loved one is involved in an accident, or even if you just witnessed one? David Aylor is here with more. Welcome.
Good morning.
Like a lot of motorcycles, first of all, they're hard to see on the roads.
Right.
I feel like I'm always scared by them. They zip around. More frequently, are they in accidents more often than cars?
Yeah, particularly right around this time of year here in the low country, because it's a period of time where it's not too hot but not too cold. So you've probably seen a lot more bikes out. There usually is that in the fall and early spring. And with that, a lot of people aren't really paying enough attention to the bikes. A lot of motorcycles.
Just a visibility
Right,
thing.
exactly. You know, the inattentiveness of a driver, unfortunately due to text messaging, playing with their phone in general, or the radio, or whatever it may be. So unfortunately, that causes a lot of the accidents. And a lot of times when they're trying to reconstruct the accidents, they really don't know exactly what happened initially.
Really? So let's just kind of break this down. First of all, let's say you are involved in a motorcycle accident. What should you do?
Well, no matter if you're involved,
treatment.
Right, of course. I mean, you definitely want to go to the hospital, particularly considering the fact that on a bike, it's obviously going to be a lot more dangerous. Unfortunately, the injuries are usually a lot more severe, or even, of course, death, as we've seen in the low country just recently here, a couple of different accidents. Beyond that, if you have other people riding with you, it's very important that they try to get as much information from the scene as they can, take pictures of where the bike is, the debris, things like that actually end up moving. And sometimes the biker himself or herself is not able to give an initial statement to the officer at the scene, and then ultimately may be found actually at fault for the accident that they in reality were not at fault for.
So on the flip side, if you witness an accident, could you be helpful by jumping out and taking pictures, like you said, of where things lay? Yeah,
I mean, in reality, anything that you can do if you witness an accident, first and foremost, is to stay. Sometimes people will stop at an accident, particularly with bikers and things like that, and say, hey, is everyone okay? And they'll say, well, no, or yes, we have the EMS, we have police on the way, and then they'll leave, and they'll forget to leave any information. It happens so fast, but those people are very key when trying to look at the accident at a later point to determine what exactly happened. If you don't get their information, it's going to be very difficult to try to find them thereafter.
What if you or a family member or a friend is found at fault, like you said, but you disagree?
That happens a lot. And like I said, a lot of that happening is simply because there's not enough witnesses, and the initial statements made are usually made by the drivers of the vehicle, not by the individual on the motorcycle. So in those situations, it's very important that, of course, beyond your actual physical treatment at a hospital or a doctor, that you talk to an attorney. An attorney is going to work with you trying to get an accident reconstructionist involved. Usually these are former officers who are experts in the field, and what they really can do is go back, and I know we've had several of these in my own office, that when it looks one way, they recreate it. Maybe also sometimes you can find some witnesses and that sort of thing, and show that in fact the motorcycle rider was not at fault. That's going to make a huge difference when you're going up against those insurance companies.
Regarding helmets, does it make a difference?
Obviously, if you're over 21 years old here in the state of South Carolina, you do not have to wear a helmet. You're also at risk if you don't wear a helmet, clearly comparatively to if you are wearing a helmet. But if the accident is not related to anything, initially other than the actual driving. So if you're injured more because you weren't wearing a helmet, that's really secondary, of course, to the fact that the accident was or was not your fault.
I mentioned at the beginning, I feel like sometimes I'm surprised by motorcycles on the roads because of the visibility.
Right.
What are the rules regarding that? Are they supposed to act just like a car, or can they go in and out of traffic at a light?
Right. You cannot split lanes. There are some places that you can, and California is one of them. You cannot split lanes, although unfortunately you do see bikers do that often, and those bikers are going to be usually ticketed for reckless driving or careless driving. But they should follow all traffic laws. They're not allowed to go into like the bicycle lane or anything like that, going up on the curb. To get respect on the roads, you have to show respect, and they have to do that to the drivers as well. But the biggest issue for most motorcyclists is not so much their driving, it's the inattentive driving of other drivers out there in vehicles, which are, of course, a lot bigger than what they're driving.
Sure. All of us need to pay more attention.
Yeah,
get off the phone, stop texting. Attorney David Aylor, thank you so much for being
Thanks
here.
for having me.
It's Trial Tuesday, and we've got much more on Low Country Live right after the break, so stick with us.